Today we join our intrepid hero, Shadow Studios 9, Minecraft username Primary Optimus, and another adventure into Redstone. Bow, bow, Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my wonderful Tinkerbox. Now today we are going to do something that I can only describe as wireless redstone, although its signal is very short. In fact, like 1 block to be precise. You have like 1 block to work with, but that's better than no blocks. And so now we're going to get to it. This works on the premises of bud switches. Again, I've done a lot of things with bud switches lately. I just think bud switches are a really underutilized Minecraft thingy-merjigger. Now here is a if you've seen any of my bud switch videos or bud flop videos, this is pretty much the type of design I use in all of them. And so this is a very simple bud switch, and of course bud switches, like usual, you put a block on them and they update and blah 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 blah. And now I've messed it up. Repeater time. That's one thing to remember about bud flops, is because you can right click a repeater and that counts as an update, you can always correct what tick one is on by placing down a repeater, clicking it once and destroying it. That counts as 3 updates, which will put it on the opposite one it was. Okay, so the thing about bud flops is that they can detect redstone updates from a block away. So if I throw down a redstoney thing like so, or destroy a redstoney thing in redstone dust's case, from a block away, the thing's going to detect it, whereas, I can't throw down a piston a block away and have it, be like, oh, there's a piston over there. Redstone's the only thing that does that. Now we can take advantage of that update factor to create semi-pseudo wireless redstone. And the way we're going to do that is you can either do it with a torch or a repeater or a piece of dust. I personally prefer a torch, just because you can attach it to the block the button or lever is on. And you're also going to use a bud flop. Now a bud flop is a T-flip-flop bud switch, and a bud switch sends a single pulse. Now why would you use a bud flop instead of a switch? That's because there's 2 updates. When you hit the button, the torch goes off and then on. Both of those counts as an update. 2 updates means 1 full cycle for a T flip-flop, which is the same as a pulse. And that's what we want. So the way this works is you build yourself your bud switch, and then 1 block away, or 2 blocks away, you throw down a block, you throw down a redstone torch, a redstone repeater, or a piece of dust behind the said block, and then you simply, goodness gracious, this thing keeps getting out of sync. There we go. Then, see, when you press the button, it goes through 1 cycle and sends out 1 pulse. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's just 1 block of space. How is that going to help me? Well, I've set up a little demonstration here to show you. Here we have this clearly isolated block with a redstone torch attached to it. There's no redstone going to it or from it. It just looks like this solo isolated thing. Yet when you hit that button, you can hear and see the bud switch behind it updating. I think it's a really cool trick, just like the lever button is. There's not very many practical uses for it, but on SMP servers or adventure maps, it's just a neat little thing to trip people up. When people see things like this, it just kind of spins their confusion, and they're like, well, this isn't what I'm used to. I know what Minecraft's like, and this isn't how redstone works in Minecraft. And any time you take someone who thinks they know what they're doing, and then you're like, you don't know what you're doing, it's glorious. It is glorious. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to do this really quickly. We're going to throw down a sticky piston. I need to grab an extra building block. We're going to throw that down, and then here, put a torch down, piece of dust, block next to the piece of dust, with a torch attached to that block on top of that, go out a couple and bring it around, Throw a repeater down here so that the signal doesn't backwash and mess up. And bring the redstone around like that so it's adjacent to the piston. And there is your bud switch. Of course, like I said before, I've shown you guys bud switches many a times at this point, so I'm sure by now you're like, oh, I know how to build that. And then the extra part of this is you go 1, 2, 3 blocks away, you throw your torch on the back of it, and then you reset this thing with a repeater because it's being obnoxious. There we go. Alright, and then you put your button on it, and there you go. There is your wireless, pseudo-wireless redstone signal. And you can also do this with levers. Flip it on, flip it off, and of course, pressure plates. Throw down a pressure plate, jump on top of it. And you can do it with tripwires and anything. Anything that you can do normally, you can do wirelessly with a bud flop setup like this. And I hope I've inspired you guys to make some cool traps. Maybe you have a jumping puzzle with pressure plates on it and people will think it's threatless because of it's floating, so no redstone can come out to it, and this goes off, and then all of a sudden they get shot by an arrow. There's just tons upon tons of things you can do with this. I hope I've inspired you, and if I have in some way helped you, please consider like, commenting, or subscribing. It helps me out a ton, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Doodles!